Hello, friends. This is Melton Guy here. I know that the head of my podcast profile says it's not all about politics. However, today it is all about politics, but some very serious politics. And I want you all to understand that this is coming from not just on a whim, but some serious thought and some serious worry. And I have to share, have to do my part, have to know I have done everything I can do as far as this next election is concerned. I guess I will go ahead and ask you, if you will, to hit your like button, if you can do that for me, and hit your subscribe button. I'm still looking for subscribers. I need you to subscribe. I need you to listen to me. I need you to share, as well as some of those names I have mentioned so many times, beginning with Tennessee Brando and right on through Midas Touch Network and all of those guys. Listen to them, and they'll give you information to other folks to listen to, and they'll also tell you to pay attention to Fox. As I do, I say listen to Fox, but you make sure you check everything out. Here, there, and on Fox. Make sure you check it out. And you will find that Fox News, as I've said many times, is a contradictory term. They are not the news. But you need to listen to them. But I always check them out, just like you check out Midas Touch Network, Jesse Dollamore, and Tennessee Brando. Check them all out. Also, I want to plug my wife's book again, Leaving Small Town by Sue Guy. You can buy it on Amazon. I think you will enjoy it. A lot of people have. Leaving Small Town by Sue Guy. And also my book. It has caused some controversy, but that's what I wrote it. That's why I wrote it. But the name of it is The Offspring of Ignorance by J. Melton Guy, and you can also find it on Amazon. And now, to what I want to talk about today. Years ago, I used to always watch a program on Monday Night Football, and you know it still may come on. I don't know. It came on every Monday night, but my favorite sportscaster by the name of Howard Cosell, I'm telling my age now, who was also very famous in boxing circles. He was a very good friend and helped make the career of Muhammad Ali and vice versa. But Howard Cosell, somebody wrote a book about Howard Cosell called The Voice You Love to Hate. But a lot of people loved him, a lot of people didn't. But he was the best at what he did. But anyway, he was always coming up with new terms, new words that nobody had ever used. But the only one that ever really stuck with me was the word called discombobulated. Discombobulated, I guess he was referring to a play that just happened and didn't come out just right, and said something about it being discombobulated. Discombobulated, one of the definitions is confused and disconcerted. That's the very simple explanation. However, disconcerted, if you check more, remember, is defined worried by something and uncertain or unsettled. That's being disconcerted. You're worried about something, and it seems to imply that you really don't know what you're worried about. A lot of us can know what that's talking about. And then uncertain and unsettled. Unsettled is a very easy word to define. It means not calm or not having a regular pattern. You know, it's unsettled. Everything's just up for grabs. Everything's all over the place. Now, when this refers to a situation like a football play, it's serious because you can't get anything done. And when it concerns politics, it's something that must be fixed rather quickly in order to get anything done, because you have to be settled. You have to be whatever the opposite of discombobulated is to get anything done. But when this word and all these definitions refer to a human being, you have to say they're more than unsettling, that the person, especially if this is the nature of the person, and you can say it every day that you've ever known this person, and this is his nature by the time he wakes up in the morning and by the time he goes to bed at night, and whenever that is. But you have to say the person is unfit for whatever he's trying to do. Especially if that person is running for president of the United States of America. You'd have to say that person was totally unfit. Now, I could go back and attach all these definitions to Donald Trump, and they'd fit. Just like a puzzle going together, they would fit piece by piece by piece. And like I said, Bob Dole used to say, you know it, I know it, the American people know it. I hear individuals saying on TV, and I've heard them out in public, when I'm out in public, say, I voted for Trump twice. But this time, I'm not. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. Yeah, I'm so glad you're voting for Kamala Harris. I really am. This time. But I will say this without any shame for myself, that you should be absolutely ashamed for ever voting for Donald Trump. Most Americans saw what this man is way back in 2016. He didn't wake up a month ago being a pig or a thief or a narcissist or an adulterer or even a fascist. That didn't just happen overnight. So I asked the question, throwing it all out there, who is discombobulated in all of this? Who is? What is discombobulated? Who is discombobulated? At one of the early voting poll sites, one was overheard to say, talking about Trump, well, we had it in the bag until he chose Vance. This was a man that is an outstanding, dedicated member of one of the local Baptist churches, a deacon in the Baptist church. We had it in the bag until he chose Vance. Really, this is what confuses me. This is what discombobulates me. Knowing all that we know about this man, and did know even in 2016, I don't understand it. I never will understand it. I've almost given up trying to understand it. Fox News, covering up as they've always done, or as they're saying out there now in other circles, that they're signing him up, and other networks doing the same. In other words, make him to appear that he's better off than what he is. Sane. Well, there's no such word as saning. Saning, if it were a word, I guess would mean trying to make, taking action to make a person look sane. Well, there's no such word. Nope, there is no such word. We, that is, some people who knew Trump from the very beginning, made it up. Mostly people to the left of the far right political spectrum. Say it proudly. Say it right out. Most of us over here are baffled by the sycophants still clutching on and at an unfit, unintelligent, rapist felon on many accounts. You know, since we're looking at definitions, let's look at the definition of this word that's being spread out there. You say it being said many ways and many times by many networks. The word is fascist. Other words for fascist are dictatorship, tyranny, despotism, absolutism, but also this, a far right form of government in which most of the country's power is held by one ruler or by a small group. But acknowledged for decades as this. And you know this has to sound familiar, what I'm about to say. An organized, elitist political group centered around extreme nationalism, extreme militarism, extreme power, whose interests are placed entirely on party and national power and control, with very little regard for, if any, the individual. Or let me say that in a different way. With very little regard for you. With very little regard for me. With very little regard for your children. With very little regard for your grandchildren. With very little regard for your spouse. For your grandfather. For your grandmother. You get my drift? If it doesn't sound familiar to you, you're not paying attention. One of the Fox hosts, and this is how low they are, it's called gaslighting. And they've been doing it. Donald Trump is a master of gaslighting. You don't know how Trump really feels? Turn everything he says around. You want to know what Joe Biden didn't do? Turn everything around that Trump said he did. Everything he says is opposite. He makes the other person seem like the guilty party. But one of the Fox hosts called Kamala Harris a fascist. You think about that. Think about Harris. Think about Trump. Think about J.D. Vance. And think about Tim Walz. And you figure it out. Where does that application, that definition fit? Figure it out. Who is the fascist? Really? Really, I mean, figure it out. You have only a few days to figure it out. You know, and now back to those definitions I mentioned above, and the Trump supporters, even in light of everything you and we know, you know, discombobulated, unsettled, disconcerted, unfit. Without question, from most Americans, these words describe Donald Trump. Without question, from most Americans. But what about other Americans? When it comes to discombobulating, when it comes to the unsettled, when it comes to disconcertedness, and things like we had it in the bag until he chose Vance. Who are the discombobulated? Trump and MAGA? Are they discombobulated? Or those so many out of touch Americans out of touch because of maybe ignorance, out of touch because of hate, maybe out of racism, out of pride, and a pride that says, I don't care how things are or will be. I just want to appear to have been right and appear to be right now. I've got to be right. Not do the right thing. Just appear to be right. I say it like this and I say it bluntly. The matter of fact is this: Donald Trump is a fascist, desiring a fascist state. If you haven't noticed it, I don't know how you haven't. I really don't. Donald Trump is a fascist, desiring a fascist state. Folks, the election is less than 7 days away. All those definitions I've so eloquently pointed out above do not mean jack shit if you don't get off your discombobulated butt, your unsettled sense of misplaced pride, and go out and vote for the next president of the United States, Madam President Kamala Harris. You remember the song? Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light? Talking about the flag. And it was important. Wrote a song about it. It stood there after all the battles. It still stands. It still waves in the breeze. How free will it wave? And I want you to really ask yourself this question. How free will it wave? And how free can you sing? Oh, say can you see? That flag on November the 6th. I really do love you all. And I pray for all of us. If you will, please go out and vote for Kamala Harris. It's essential, so important. You won't do it for me, do it for my family and yours. God bless you.